Well, I gotta be straight with you, Norm.
Norman.
I'm not looking for anything long-term. I just want to make enough bucks to get the brakes on my car fixed and build up a little stake for L.A. But I wouldn't mind filling in until you found somebody permanent. I just won't be staying around too long.
No one ever does.
Psycho 3 came out July 2nd, 1986. I don't know the budget, but it made $14.5 million. I'm going to guess that if Part 2's budget, would we say $5 million? 6, 7, I don't know. I don't think it's much more than that. If even more than Part 2. Okay, so the stars of this movie is, of course, Norman Bates, Anthony Perkins, Maureen, played by Diana Scarwood.
Matt Wazell.
Matt Wazell was played by Jeff Fahey.
Love you, Matt. Oh, that's fun.
Dwayne Duke. Yeah, what was the last retrospective crowbar in of his name? Who directed Texas Chainsaw Remake?
Matt Wazell.
Who can keep track, though? There's so many of them.
Yeah, there's so many Matt drops. All right, so Dwayne Duke was played by Jeff Fahey. Tracy Venable was played by Roberta Maxwell very well. And I didn't mention this in Psycho 2, but I will say his name. Hugh Gillian is Sheriff John Hunt. I didn't say his name in the last one. So that's who plays that bumbling sheriff. There's a lot of, well, not a lot, but a couple cool things about, facts. I like to do that first before we do our stuff. So the big thing about this movie is that it was directed by Anthony Perkins, Norman Bates himself. Anthony wanted to pay such homage to Psycho that he actually asked the studio if he could shoot this movie in black and white.
That's awesome. I just mean it's awesome because he cared that much, He put stuff into it. Yeah.
Well, he did do a portion of it in black and white, and in the very beginning when they did the flashback scene.
True.
And I thought that was beautiful. It was gorgeous. I would not have minded if the entire thing had been in black and white.
Shovel to the head, yeah.
Right. Yep. All right. Well, anyway, luckily, I think for Anthony, because the use of the lighting was like startling. It was great. He has a lot of Argento in his style, and that's huge. You got to remember, directing, like most directors' first movie sucks. I thought this was riveting. I mean, it was said in the Psycho Legacy, and by many people, including me, no one knew the character of Norman better than Anthony Perkins. I mean, that's just the fact.
Right.
Yeah, how could they?
Even Alfred Hitchcock, even the guy writing the movie didn't know, because you don't when you embody that person, it's just so different. So knowing that, think of what we're getting here. We're literally seeing the world through the eyes of the man who brought Norman Bates to life. All the off-kilter qualities that Anthony had that made him Norman Bates, those qualities had another avenue, another outlet, a way to be artistically expressed. Like this movie is left, right, and center the most intimate look you will ever get into the character of Norman Bates. Would you agree with that?
Oh, hell yeah. And he nailed it,
Yes.
too. There's subtle references. There's references that are, right in your face, and it's like blatant. And then, yeah, it's all over the place.
It's so intimate, though.
Oh, absolutely. Well, he nailed it on a lot of levels as far as, acting and directing wise. I mean, both,
Yeah, like... Dude, your first movie you direct, you also have to act in? Like, I know Sylvester Stallone did that, right? Wasn't that like Rocky 3 or something? Wasn't that his first directing?
Yeah, but that was Rocky 3.
Yeah, but listen.
Right.
It's tough to act and direct if it's your first thing.
Absolutely.
You figure if you're directing, I just want to focus on directing.
Right. I was just comparing it to this. I wouldn't compare that to as good as this movie, what he did with...
I'm a horrible referencer.
Well, no, I know what you're saying. I know exactly I got you.
Tony had a clear-cut view on everything he wanted to do, and no one, including Mr. Hitchcock, knew Norman Bates as well as Tony knew Norman Bates.
I remember for the first month or two before the movie, I'd go up to the house and he'd be walking around the yard with this device, this range finder from his neck, and he would be aiming it at different items and have people walk and talk, and looking at every imaginable director's book there is, everything. And the first day on the set, the DP, Bruce Surtees, walked up and says, "Tony, this shot up the stairs, how would we shoot this? I mean, it's impossible to shoot it coming down and blah, blah." And I know nothing about directing. And Tony looked at him and goes, "Well," and he said that in front of a lot of people, putting Tony on the spot. Tony goes, "Well, first of all, Bruce, if we use a baby here and a so-and-so 5K there, and we shoot it with the 16 millimeter whatever, and we pull back here, we come around the corner, if we come back and we hit the 8 spot there, and 7 seconds in, we should swirl it back around, by that time bracket out, and then time it with another light, this and that, I think we'll get it." And Bruce Surtees looked at him and he goes, "I apologize and will never question you again." He studied. He studied for so many months to be a director. He was great for his first shot out.
Like, I think people who truly, truly love this character connect with this movie on levels that they have no problem saying that this is their favorite of the sequels, you know? I mean, it's almost like you can't look at this movie with a critical eye. Like, you have to, like, view it as an experience. Like, just sit back and let yourself go somewhere that you're not comfortable being. Like, this movie is like a world of its own in a way. Like, it doesn't feel like the whole world is in this movie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, is that am I way too into this movie, or can you see that?
Yes, you are way too in this
Yes,
movie, and yes, I can see
it.
it.
This movie.
Hey, jerk off.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right, man. And it's I'll probably say this a few times in this in our review here, but there are so many layers of greatness to this movie, and that's just one of them. You know what I mean? And it's an important one, but it's definitely not the only one. It's a psychological movie. It's a somewhat of a slasher, and that aspect definitely appeals to, slasher fans like us too. But that's by no means the backdrop totally. This is definitely about Norman Bates. It's about all of that and a bunch of other things all mixed together. Like when you sit there and watch a movie and you can sit there and say something good about every scene and take something almost out of every scene. Even there's a scene where you see the first time Norman's really out of his element, other than being in like the police station, or something like that. But
Which is that?
Which actually, you're right, doesn't happen.
Out of his element?
No, I just mean in the third one here. When he took her out to the restaurant.
Oh yeah, dude, yeah.
And that was a nothing scene other than, there was simple dialogue or whatever, but it conveyed so much. First of all, you see Norman out of his element, which was cool, but that was not what they were going for, I don't think anyways. That's the first thing I thought of. But, it conveyed so much more. And then, later on when they come back to it, it almost set the tone right when they came back from the restaurant too.
Right.
Almost like we're back and some shit's gonna go down. Because there's only like a half hour left at that point, and we'll get into that later though. Yeah.
Yeah, but Jamie, don't you love, like, you like those, what is it called, character nuances or whatever?
I will say that I really do love his character nuances here. Also, a lot of things that he put into the film, little things, little nods, camera angles, that were all too familiar, but in a good way. The book in the belly of the beast from part 2 shows back up, and
right next to the birdhouse.
And oh god, there were so many things, like so many odes to the original Psycho in here that you could tell. When he offers candy corn to Jeff Fahey,
right?
It's just all those little things. And it is so obvious. It's coming out of his pores how much he did this out of love.
Jamie, that whole scene between him and Jeff Fahey's fucking mint. Like, their whole back and forth where he's like, talking about the job and then they go in the back. Every single back and forth is just fucking perfect. Like you said, the nuances and the subtle references, and exactly where Norman's coming from, and this guy's wicked quick too. The bar scenes like that too, with him and the other chick.
I love the bars, dude.
Back and forth dialogue, dude. Dialogue's off the hook.
That chick, Tracy Venable, her acting is like classic. I mean, there's something, and the writing of it is genius in ways. Like, there's something like amazing. It's so familiar to me. I feel like just scenes like when he's like, my name's Duke. She's like, I had a dog named Duke once. Yeah. Hated the mutt. And the whole thing.
And she's like, I'll buy you a drink.
I'll buy you a drink, yeah. Like, it's so classic 80s. There's something amazing about her performance and her lines that, I don't know, man. I fall in love with it. But here's what I'll say right off the bat about the entire movie and what makes it great. The reason this is great is because part one is our introduction into this whole, fiasco that's going on at this motel, this guy, his mother. It's really an introduction. We're really, you can't escape the fact that you're just getting into it. Part two is really focused on him getting out, trying to maintain his sanity. Will he go crazy again? Will they get him arrested? What's going to happen? That kind of thing. Part three is pretty much like back to where it was in part one. Mother's back in the window. The motel's back in business. Norman or his mom is killing again. Like, how people might say, like, I would love to live in Haddonfield on Halloween and see Michael Myers chasing somebody across the street, or I'd love to go to Crystal Lake and go camping and really see Jason running around or something.
Who says that? No one says that.
Sure they do.
No one says that.
Yes, they do. If they're totally into these movies, they'd love to go to Camp Crystal Lake and experience that stuff. Well, of course, surviving.
I want to go. I want to go to all those places that you just...
Yeah,
I want to go.
Jamie's the only one. She's the only one. Dude, she's not like normal people.
Oh, man.
Well, everyone knows I'm not normal anyway. But don't you ever question my love of Friday the 13th.
Yeah, if you don't want to be there, you don't love it. All right.
Don't make me clamp down. What?
There's people who build houses that are exact replica of the Halloween house. I mean, people want to be there, believe me.
No, I know. No. What I was, and yes, that's true. But what I was saying was, you're like, I want to be in Haddonfield on Halloween and just watch Michael Myers chasing after somebody. Well, I mean, that's a bizarre thing,
They want to be there for something. I don't know what they want to experience, but they want to be there. The point is that this is just another night at the Bates Motel and what it would be like. Like, the storyline's divided enough and it's well-rounded. It has a variety of aspects that it's just so spread out that it could be any day. And although it's obviously the end of when this whole reign of terror, when it all comes to an end, you don't really feel that way until the end.
Right.
During the movie, it doesn't seem like it's getting to an end or it's going to grind to a halt.
Right. Yep.
It's just an experience. So that's one thing I really love about it. It really brings you there. Of course, we have to get into the tone here. Remember how in part two I talked about how people really gloss over the gore in part two, and they see that as a classy, very much like, Psycho part one, and this one is like, they just see it as like cash in and all that kind of bullshit. The reason is really clear. I remember when we had Rob Galuzza on for our Psycho vs. Psycho remake show.
Rob G?
Jason Allentoff, I played a clip of him. He runs psychomovies.com, I think. And what we talked about is that this movie has a really sleazy undercurrent. Like, it doesn't feel that way when you watch part two. Part two feels more like part one. That sleaziness is just something people catch on to, and they don't know exactly what's bothering them, and they kind of lash out about it. You know what I mean? It's like a stigma in your mind that 3 is a gore fest, but really it's no different than part 2. Yeah. And even Ebert from Siskel and Ebert, he loves Psycho 3. He thought that 3 was better than 2. He said Anthony Perkins' directing is fantastic. He said
it was. He did a really phenomenal job.
Yeah, it is. I think so.
Yeah. And he said, he would take out things here and there, but overall, great movie, really good pacing, great job. And, he loved this movie. So it's weird how, most of those guys hate horror movies, and this one was one that was liked, and most horror fans don't. It's really strange.
I'm surprised,
man. I think that is probably very telling. I think that it makes sense. I really do like this movie. I think that there are parts of it that seem a little cheap, but overall, I really adore it. I think that he did a I was so impressed with his directing skills. And I did mention something I did want to talk about though. Part 2. We were talking about part 2. I mentioned that I was talking about the music. Now, the music here takes this omany weird left turn. And I get it because of the religious angle here. I understand it, but it just seems a little out of place.
Do you mean the chanting type thing, like
right?
Da, 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 that sounds like people in a cult, sort of. Whatever?
Yeah, I mean, like like from The Omen or South Park. Cheesy proofs.
I love cheesy proofs.
And it seems it just to me. It pulls it completely away in that respect from the other two, and it gives it a weird kind of feel, and it's very heavy too. If it was used lightly, then I probably wouldn't have an issue with it, but it's used so heavily that it's distracting, I think. And
really,
and I feel like it sort of.
I noticed it towards the end of the movie, in the house, when some shit was going down. I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but
when he was looking for Mom.
Yes, he was it was following Norman, and he was looking around. Yeah, I believe.
Yeah,
so.
That was great music. Yeah,
that's a xylophone, right? It was just perfect, man. And you know the way they did that, as far as that's the thing. It's different from the first one, and I like it a lot. You know, the music's totally different, like Jamie said, kind of ominous and just different. You know, but I don't know. I liked it. I didn't think it was bad. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't think it was like, oh my god, this is the greatest music. I thought it was decent though. I mean, throughout the film, it was musically, it was pitch point in every scene. You know, as far as I'm concerned. So I didn't have any problems with it.
Yeah, I used to feel like Jamie. I actually felt that way about the entire religious aspect of this. Mm-hmm. I kind of felt like I love this movie so much that when I go back and watch it, I'm gonna half-heartedly watch the religious stuff and really just okay, let's get back to the movie. You know, part of that was probably that chanting music that she's talking about. Mm-hmm. But I gotta tell you, Jamie, as you watch this. Like more and more, you really stop caring. It's just like, it's there. And it's just like, you actually begin to focus on reliving those great scenes. Like Dan said, when he said how you take something from every scene, I really when like I said in part 2, when the next scene starts up, I can't wait to relive it. Like, I'm like, all right, oh yeah, love this. Go ahead. Like, it's just all great.
Do you have
and
Norman Bates pants hanging on your wall?
I'm almost as bad. I have no, not that bad. Here, you tell me. I got those movie maniacs.
Yeah.
I got his statue has been sitting in front of my microphone since I ever started doing this.
Aww.
Nice.
And I have a Bates Motel sign.
I have a Bates Motel sign.
And it's lit up right now to my left.
Dude, that is badass.
As you could see, because we're all in the same room, like in our logo.
Oh, right.
Oh, that's why I have one, because it's
it's right there.
Yeah, look, right there.
Oh, I didn't see
it.
Yeah.
You didn't see it? It's blinking. Vacancy. Yeah. And here's another great thing about our logo. It's weird how that came up. The poster behind me, look, guys, behind me, that's a Psycho 3 poster.
You're right.
So, you see that right there?
Mm-hmm.
So, this movie... By the way, your bone is looking great. You just gotta keep brushing.
Thank you. Yes, you too.
Yeah, your rib cage is looking...
His boner is looking great?
His boner is looking fantastic.
Oh.
I bet you've been staring at it all night. So yeah, Psycho 3 is very important to me. Because I connect with the character Norman so much, this movie is my favorite of them all. It could be my favorite horror movie, since this is my favorite franchise. I just don't know.
I get that. I understand.
Huh?
I said I get that. I understand.
Yeah, so figuratively, I'd rate this a 10 if that's the case.
Mm.
But I don't think it's perfect, though.
Right.
But So I still wouldn't rate it a 10, although it's my favorite. So
Well,
it's
you know
weird.
what? Your favorite doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
You know, it's your favorite for so many other reasons. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, I happen to think that Jaws is perfect, and it is my favorite. So that's not a good example. But
Yeah, great example, James. Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Dan's not perfect, but I love him too.
Oh, that's cute.
But he is the most likable one on the show.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm told.
That's what I hear.
And that's why I hired him, because I knew I wasn't, so.
What's it, if it's not perfect, okay, it's not perfect, but it's your favorite in the series, so you have to give it higher than a 9, which you did on the last one, correct?
The last one? What'd I say, 8.5, I thought.
Oh, yeah. So technically you could call it a 9, or you could even go 9.5, because I mean...
I'm probably going there, man.
Yeah, wow.
He's going there. He's going all the way.
You're a bold motherfucker.
I'm losing credibility. That's okay, though. I'll do it for
No, dude, this movie's awesome.
What is that? Fuck losing credibility. Yeah.
Yeah, who needs credibility in this day and age?
How does it gain or lose you credibility? And fuck anyone who says it does. It's you like what you like. And no one can tell you that you're wrong for that.
Well, it would be like, well, he thinks this is good, so I'm not going to go watch this movie if he thought that
But they
was
can
good.
use that as a basis, sure, to make decisions, and I hope that they do. Whether you like me or hate, or like whether you like what I have to say or hate what I have to say, you know,
Yeah.
whatever.
I don't believe in guilty pleasures. I don't think you should feel guilty for
Exactly.
something you
You
love.
should never feel guilty, ever.
I feel like...
Never!
I feel like...
Never
Gone!
pleasure.
Yeah, this is true. It's true. It's fucking...
Con! You know, this show, the spirit behind it is not to tell people what to think or they should feel this way. I feel like I would like to think of us as a representation of what everybody thinks, you know, because we're just them.
I mean, we talk about what we think, and based on what people think of our opinions, they can use those to form their own, you know, or to decide whether or not they want to invest time in something or not, you know.
Yeah, like a recommendation, whether or not they'll take it seriously. Yeah.
Well, and this show's kind of a, you know, it mostly we represent what we love, and that's why we're doing a Psycho retrospective, because we like the Psycho movies. Like, mainly it's directed. Yeah, we'll see new
And
movies.
who talks about these movies? No one, you know,
Right.
and they deserve to be talked about because these are damn good movies.
God damn it.
It's weird that nobody talks about it. I just love shows that suddenly do retrospectives on it after we announce it. That's really cool. Jerk offs. Too bad no one's listening to you anymore. Alright. So we get to Psycho 3. So, you know, Maureen goes to commit suicide. Nun tries, and she's a nun.
We were on the sound stage, and they had built the staircase going up, and I was at a height, I guess a couple stories to get those shots with the nuns coming up. I went over to Anthony and I said, I need something to stop them in their tracks. I said, I know something that'll stop them. How about if I say, there is no God, you know, in that tormented moment there. And he said, oh yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's good. And that would stop them there, freeze them.
It was just one of those great inspired moments by a really good actress.
A year later in Savannah, Georgia, we had a screening of a film, and we're sitting there waiting on the movie, and it's black screen, and you hear me screaming, there is no God. And I started shaking. I thought, oh my God. I mean, I didn't anticipate that was what was going to happen with that. I mean, it wasn't where it was originally placed and what it was for. But I said, okay, that did it. And that just opened the whole thing up. I said, what a unique, creative thing to do. I mean, to talk about grabbing an audience.
Older haggy nun tries to pull her from the brink of insanity, and she lets go of her, and she falls down this thing and dies. And here's my question right off the bat.
The old haggy nun dies, make that clear.
Yeah, the haggy nun dies, yeah. So if you killed a nun on top of the feeling you already had that got you to the ledge, why don't you just jump? Why would you live with the guilt? I mean, come on, Maureen, really.
Little boy, you're going to hell. Yeah.
Yeah, really. I mean, come on. She probably looked down and said, wow, that looked sucky. I'm just going to go to a flea bag motel and slash my wrists. That's easier. So that's what she does. So, she hitchhikes, and Duke picks her up. That's where we got introduced to Duke. He wouldn't drive in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
She's sleeping. I can see Dan doing this. He takes a flashlight. He goes up her dress. Now, here's what I want to ask Jamie.
Yes, hon.
Jamie, do you suck dick or walk in a freezing storm in the middle of the night?
Let me think. I guess it depends.
Okay, if it was Duke, what do you think?
Oh, no, I would not be walking that night. Not at all.
Dwayne Duke would have got lucky with Jamie.
Actually, well, because I like Jeff Fahey. I have always been a fan of his. Now, in recent years, he's done some real crap, but...
Wait, hold on, Jamie. Like what? Cite an example.
Like, what is it called? Tourist trap, speed trap, some kind of trap.
Oh, God. I can't argue with that.
It's fucking cool. It's a, what is it called? And Michael Madsen is in it.
Michael Marsden, you mean?
No, I think Michael Madsen.
Oh, okay. I'm just throwing out some name I heard of once.
Anyway, I like Jeff Fahey, and I particularly like him in this movie. I think he's a fun character.
I think Jamie would be turned on if he treated her like Duke treated the redhead chick. I think she would think that was hot.
I mean, if he threw me out of the hotel room?
And threw your clothes in your face and slammed your shoes on the floor?
Dude, that was so great.
What's funny is while I was watching it, I was actually thinking, what would I do in that situation?
You kicked the door like she did.
Would I be pissed off or would I... Well, but honestly, it wouldn't have gotten to that. Because I would have left way before that.
Oh, she already would have been gone.
I would have been gone. I don't need...
I think it was worse, though. I think it was worse after he tossed her. The throwing of the clothes was even worse because
that was great.
He threw it so hard at her, like
he threw it in her face, and then he slammed her shoes down on the floor.
Yeah, that's right.
One of her shoes hit her foot.
That's
because
fucked up.
He threw them fucking hard.
Yeah,
but Jamie,
yeah,
you're absolutely right though. Jeff Fahey is the fucking man, and that's why I didn't know. I was hoping you weren't gonna refer to Planet Terror.
No.
Because that's one of my favorite roles that he's done.
No, I love that. I can't think of it. It's something we covered it on fucking Devour, and I can't think of the name of it now.
Okay.
But it's bad. It made my top 10 of our the year.
Well, and I got a little trivia on him. Alex is gonna love this because everybody out there knows Alex is a huge Lost fan.
Oh, yeah. I watch a lot of TV.
Did you know that Jeff Fahey and Diana Scarwood are both on Lost?
Really?
Yep. Both
Get out of here.
are on Lost, yep. The main...
What else Diana Scarwood was in?
No.
Mommy Dearest.
Oh, yeah. She was the little girl at the time, right?
Well, she played the, teenage version and young adult version.
Oh, right.
That just blew my fucking mind.
That movie, when I was a kid, that was wild, man. And then I saw it again when I was older, and it wasn't that crazy.
It reminds me so much of so many things.
Your whole childhood.
I was going to say, oh, shit.
No wire hangers! Here's the funny part about, so she, he goes, you could have been coming instead of going.
I love that line. I love it.
Yeah, and that's all girls should live by that. You should be coming instead of going. So if I ever give you the ultimatum, come. It's so much more fun that way.
Given the chance.
What? Yeah, I'm giving it now. Jamie, you're either on this show or you're going. So you're either coming or going. What's it gonna be? This is a sought-after position. We got about 47 applicants that day.
This isn't a trick question.
Come on. You know many people listen to this show. Let's get serious. We know what this is all about.
I don't want to risk losing my spot.
Exactly. You'll lose about 3,000 listeners. All right.
Now, do you guys think there's any what the fuck moments in this movie?
Yes, there is.
Okay, want to get to those or?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, I just wanted to get, because, I mean, it's only a handful, but, I mean...
No, there's not a lot.
I'd like to hear Alex's, because I want to see if his are the same as mine. Therefore, shielding myself for, future prosecution.
I just have funny moments. I don't really think a lot. I don't think they're what. Okay, now, if you have what the F, because I got funny. Okay, we'll jump ahead. After the date that he goes on with Maureen, you know how he, like, kind of... to get on the bed and he can't go through with the sex. So he kind of like says he'll lay with her. Then all of a sudden she wakes up completely alone and her door is wide open.
Yep.
Then she kind of heads over to the Bates mansion and then she's like talking to Norman saying, "What happened? Where were you?" And the way he talks to her, dude, is so funny. He was like, "What do you want?" "Norman, where did you go?" "Oh, get away from here." "What's wrong?"
Please answer me. It's Maureen.
What do you want?
What happened to you? Are you all right?
Yes. No. I'm feeling a little sick.
Oh, let me come up.
No! Get away! I had a little too much to drink. I just need to rest.
All right, Norman.
Please, Maureen. Go back to your room. Lock your door. Please.
All right.
Like, that is like the fucking weirdest thing ever, dude. But it's hilarious.
I'm so glad you said that, man, because there's like one other scene too. There's a couple scenes, man, where it doesn't ruin it for me or whatever, but I think he kind of overacts. He might overplay it.
I know what you're going to say right now. Let me guess.
Yeah.
Let me guess.
Yeah.
The scene where the cops show up at his house.
Yep.
I knew it!
Exactly, dude, exactly. And you just said it. Wow, exactly.
Good morning, Norman. It's a little hot to be sleeping so late, isn't it?
Well, we had a lot of revelers last night.
I know. One of them didn't come home. Name's Patsy Boyle. She came with a group of locals after the game to party with some of your guests. When they all left around 3, nobody noticed that she wasn't in the van. All pretty drunk, I guess.
Oh, someone's missing, and I'm the first one you think about.
Well, there have been other accusations lately, Norman.
From that reporter, I'll bet. What has she known? Nothing.
Well, now, that's what we're going to find out. Now, it's too hot to argue. This range just made everything more muggy.
Nothing back there.
Oh, of course there is. Now, please, get out of my house. I don't want you in here.
Sorry, Norman, but we have the warrant. And it's in everybody's best interest that we follow this case up.
Whose interest? Please, get out. There's nothing here. I haven't done anything.
And there's nothing to worry about, Norman. Norman, come back here. Norman. Norman, doggone you.
There's just a couple, it doesn't kill it, it doesn't ruin it for me, but there's just a couple of scenes where, and a couple looks, and 2 what the fuck moments for me is when he's doing the bird taxidermy thing, and then, he looks down and it's a hand, and then his reaction to the hand too, it's like, oh my god, it's almost like, cartoonish, but yeah.
Here's a what the F moment, right? I'm so glad you said that, God damn it. That was so poorly edited. Okay. So he's stuffing the bird with sawdust. Oh no, he's sewing it up, obviously, at this point. So he's sewing it up. They show his face. He looks down. Now he's sewing up a corpse. He has a surprised face. So then they go back to the visual of reality with the bird, and he's just calmly sewing it again. Now, why wouldn't you have him pull away and have his hands trembling? Like, why is he just... He reacted with a crazy face, like, and he's just sewing? Like, nothing, like, no big deal?
Right.
Oh, okay. Just keep sewing, though, even though I'm surprised that I thought I saw an arm.
A putty tat.
It just made no sense. Like, what the hell? I'm really... Yeah, what the F?
Yeah.
Good catch. That's exactly right.
Well, and then, I guess another one, too, was, guys, the fucking scene with the cop and the ice machine... So stupid. Really.
He would have tasted that right away. It's not like you can mistake blood for anything else. And
right.
he, that just every time I'm like, what? How do you not notice that?
Yeah.
That was a great scene, dude. Those weird, the way Norman kept looking up and, that weird smile he kept cracking. And he kept twitching the smile. Yeah. That was great shit, dude. And good. The tension, is he gonna look, and you're looking at, you're supposed to be Norman at that point. And it's great shit, dude. It's holy shit, oh my God. And, yeah, I get what you're saying. It's a little, maybe I'm just too in love with this, but you're right. I mean, it's a little weird, but I thought it was great tension, dude.
I just looked at it like it was stupid.
I think it's a really great idea. It goes for the, a little bit of a gross out, and you're just like, ooh, the whole time you're watching it. It's just not believable that he wouldn't notice.
Exactly.
However, I really like the scene. I just can't buy it,
Do you know that Norman. Anthony Perkins was on, you could look it up on YouTube, Letterman? Yeah, Letterman. Mm-hmm. Promoting Psycho 3. And that's the scene they played. The whole audience, as, it's happening, you could hear the audience, cracking up. Because, they were playing it live to everybody. That's the scene they played. It plays for, reaction, audience reaction. Right. Clearly.
Yeah.
Yep. So I thought it was great. So I don't know if this is what the F moment, but I thought it was pretty funny. When they first show the Bates Motel after the whole Duke thing where he throws her out of the car, you see a tumbleweed blowing across the screen, and when they show the Bates Motel and it's all dry and windy and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right before they get to the birds he's killing.
Right. Yep.
So that's pretty cool though. I mean, they reintroduce, the whole thing. Norman has his new haircut. It's all spiky hair. I was really glad that the diner cast came back. Yeah. I was glad the sheriff came back because it really makes it genuine.
It does. It does. Do you feel like did the amount of sex in this movie make you feel uncomfortable thinking about him being behind the camera at all?
Yeah. At this point, that's no. You see freaking Mary Loomis naked. So I don't think there's anything that different. But like I said, there's a sleazy undertone here, and that music. It's just different.
No, that's what I'm saying. There definitely is he almost falls into the sequel trap where you just go a little bit sleazier and that's your sequel. And, except this one I still think is elevated just because, there's so many things that he does right.
Right. Okay. Well, let's even compare this sleaziness here. Obviously, podcasts in general fall into the classic trap of always referencing the big dogs franchise-wise when you're trying to talk about anything. You always go to Halloween, Friday the 13th. I don't know why. It's just something that happens. But I want to do it, though, with this and go to Friday the 13th Part 5. Clearly, that movie went raunch, The language, the tone. The character, so raunchy. It was just a filth fest. How would you compare that to that? Psycho 3 to Halloween, Friday 13th Part 5. They didn't go that bad.
No.
No, they didn't. And I don't think that it was that. I wouldn't necessarily classify this as raunchy. Just that there is, I like the words you used when you said.
When you said.
When you said.
Can you get these damn cats out of the studio?
Sorry.
No, kitty, my papa.
Cat running around.
Sorry, I had to.
All right.
When
yes, sleazy undercurrent, yeah.
I think that describes it perfectly because I really wouldn't look at it and say, oh my God, this movie is filth. No, I wouldn't do that.
Compared to the first one and stuff like that, I mean, really, it's you just look at the times that they were made. Psycho was revolutionary. By the third one, it's made in the 80s, dude. I mean, think about everything around it. That's how I base a lot of movies too. What else is out around that time? So think about that, man. It's very classy in terms of horror movies compared to a lot of the filth that was made in this era.
Dude. 86. We did this before with Jamie.
Yeah.
When we went to Texas Chainsaw 2. 86 was the year of the comedy horror. Right. It's when you took all of your serious franchises and made a joke out of it.
Right.
They didn't do it. They didn't fall into that trap.
No.
How great is that?
Yep.
I mean, this is just like all the rest. And that's what we talked about when we did the tone change segment in December, how Psycho didn't change tone. It changed tone, but not like, you know, it didn't become like a comedy.
Well, and it's definitely formulaic, like you said, for a sequel. You know, this one's got the biggest body count out of all of them, you know?
Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, I fact-checked it. This one has the biggest body count. No.
Okay.
But,
by one, maybe, right?
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing, too. But it's not like they threw in bodies there. Every kill felt pretty good. I mean, there was that, oh, and that's another thing. There was that kill in the phone booth. And I wanted to ask you guys, it's kind of a debatable what the fuck moment. What did you guys think about the whole putting the shirt over and the, what is it called, the turtleneck?
Oh. That was great because it was a sense of vulnerability. You ever put your shirt on? That moment when your shirt's going over your face? Dude, anybody could, you know, it's very vulnerable. And that's like, you have to do that because when you take a shower,
exactly,
you're at your most vulnerable point. And also what I like is that they also switched it up. And although this is sleazy, the chick on the toilet bowl.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of your only other vulnerable points. You're taking a crap, you're pissing or whatever, you're pretty vulnerable, you know? I mean...
Well, and not only that, Alex, think about, they couldn't even, Psycho was what, the first movie to show a fucking toilet in the first one, and then the third one, they're showing a girl taking a piss.
Pissing in a toilet.
That's
yeah,
great.
And that's awesome. That mirrors the first... There's so many things. And let's get back to the phone booth. The phone booth is the shower kill.
Right, exactly, right.
And look at how great the directing is. He punches through that phone booth window with the knife in his hand and the fucking Bates Motel signs behind it. Brilliant directing. Brilliant.
Yep. I was hoping I was hoping that somebody else would get that too, because that's the first thing I thought of. Yep.
Dude. Awesome. Jamie, is that another example of great directing?
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, gee. I'm glad you're enthused.
Yeah, because I've been trying to talk. And
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go, girl.
I was just going to say, like, the toilet scene kind of knocked it down a peg for me because that's been done a lot. And,
really?
Yeah.
By 86?
Friday the 13th, Part 3.
Oh, yeah.
Guy in the very beginning,
Stoner.
the guy was on the toilet, and then well, actually, a lot of the Friday the 13th have used that.
Yeah, demon.
Well, even in Friday the 13th 1, you know, Marcy went to the bathroom.
Right.
She didn't actually get killed on the toilet, but she was, you know, we watched her sit down and pee. And I was like, I've never really, I mean, I get that you're vulnerable at that point, but...
Especially if you haven't wiped your ass yet. You're not even prepared to die.
That's what bothers me about these movies is no one ever does. They always just, like, stand up and pull up their pants. And I'm like, what are you doing? You know, I mean, even if you thought something scary was out there, wouldn't you at least just, I mean, it's habit, I hope.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, it's instinct. It's instinct to get the shit out of your ass. Yeah. It really is.
It's kind of a necessity.
Yeah, like, listen, I'll search for the guy who might potentially end my existence, but let me just wipe my ass first. It's sort of important to me.
Oh, and then what the thing I always think of during that is Sleepaway Camp with the bee kill. You know?
Okay, you're right. I guess it has been done a lot.
And I always just like, that just because he's wearing those little tiny shorts. And he just pulls up the shorts, and I'm just like, there's something really just gross about that.
I'm glad you said that, too, because she's got a little skirt on. I mean, wouldn't you just pull it up? Or I guess she just took that sucker right off. You know what I mean? Pulled it all the way down. I don't know. I don't know how that works. Yeah,
hot.
I ain't complaining. I just,
Either way, hiking it up or pulling it down. She's hot, though, man. That chick is the hottest chick in this movie,
Yeah, what
honestly.
are we talking about? Yeah.
Let's face it. I mean, but here's what I like. The movie's so sleazy, and Duke is the ultimate sleaze. I mean, listen, he throws this nun out of his car. He says, you could become Sangoni, you stupid bitch. And then on top of it, he rips her off when she gets all the way to the Bates Motel and looks for a room. She's like, I'm so tired. And he's like, well, come in here, sweetheart. Ain't nothing gonna happen to you but boredom. She goes, how much is the room? $25.95. Meanwhile, that's a double. and he's ripping her off after what he did to her. This guy has nothing inside of him.
Then he says, I picked you up at a bar after one lousy drink. What do you want to get married?
To get married?
See, I love this guy. He's hilarious.
Duke is great, man. And then, what about when he says to Tracy Venable? He's like, "You want to work some of this off in trade?"
I know. I would have been like, yeah.
When he's sitting in the bar with Tracy Venable, and I guess she told him the story of Norman, and I don't know what happened before that, but all of a sudden they just zoom away from his eye into his face, and he goes, "Wow, I thought Bates was something, but a full-fledged loony."
Mm-hmm.
That is great direction once again. And I think to note is that the mother, the voice of Mother is the same in all three Psychos. The same lady performed the voice in part 1, 2, and 3.
I love that, and you can tell.
Yeah.
And I love it.
And what do you think about this now? Let's get into some of the movie here again. What do you think of the fact that they show Norman while Mother is talking this time?
Oh, dude.
Is that to imply that he is no longer speaking outwardly in her voice, but rather it's just a voice in his head?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, you even get the whole thought process. She's like, "Get rid of her."
Yep.
Or maybe I will.
Mm-hmm.
So, is he aware that she'll go over his head on any decisions? It's just...
I was thinking more too, when he killed, how he, when he was killing Duke after he had popped up in the trunk and, they were struggling and stuff like that.
In the back seat.
It wouldn't be the first time technically that Norman's killed anybody, but you could see the fear in his fucking eyes, he's screaming. And that's why I think, what do you guys think? Because I was debating this in my own head, whether it was legit or not. Why he hit the gas pedal.
I thought he was just desperate, trying to survive, and he just wanted to hurry up and just...
He seemed more horrified in himself, when he was choking him out. That's why he screamed. I don't know.
What about the part where he smashes Duke in the head 100 times with his own guitar, and basically he's done, and then he just right away, he's like, I'm sorry, Duke.
Yeah.
What's
Dude.
the guitar?
What?
Yeah, what's the guitar?
Can I ask you guys a question? What would you rather have? Because for me, I would rather get hit with a fucking guitar than have an ashtray thrown at me. That seems like it would hurt so much more, dude. Having a fucking ashtray chucked at your head.
I think Jamie would rather have an ashtray.
Just, I don't know.
No, I would rather get hit with the guitar.
That's what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I thought I was crazy. This is what I debate in my head when I'm watching movies.
Dude, your mind works in mysterious ways. I love it.
Yeah, right.
The thing I hate about, all those scenes, and this happened in the movie It, too, when, the chick throws something at, the guy who's, abusing her.
Mm-hmm.
Every time these guys are about to get hit in the head with something, they cannot help but flinch before it hits their face.
Oh, like you could? Like you could just sit there?
You're not supposed to know it's coming at.
It's
honestly,
instinct.
Norman threw it. It's pretty dark, and that's another great use of lighting too. It was reddish, I believe, at that scene.
Right.
But it's pretty dark in that room. He shouldn't have known that thing was actually going to hit his face.
Right. But in real life, as an actor, how can you do that unless you're not?
You can't.
Exactly.
Knowing that they're okay, we're going to throw this at you very lightly. You still flinch.
That's like that scene in Always Sunny in Philadelphia when they throw the beach ball at D. She's stop flinching. I can't help it. I know you're going to fucking throw it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So, hey, we didn't talk about a big scene. How about the transition from Mother to Norman? She goes in to kill Maureen, and this bitch got her wrist slit, pouring out into a bathtub.
Crazy.
And then all of a sudden, if it was Mother, still, she would have just kind of dunked her head into the bathtub and just held her down. It kind of killed her, right? I mean, but Norman came through. Why? How? At what moment does this happen? It's weird because their objective is to kill, and then
right. I think it happened when he saw her because he had the knife lifted, right? So he saw her and changed his mind, because he realized he felt sympathy because he could relate, obviously,
I think that say for instance you were going to kill Dan in the bathtub.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I tried that already.
You did? Oh, well,
but
shit.
he was jerking off in the bathroom when I walked in. I just got distracted.
Yeah,
When am I not?
That would pull you out.
Yeah, it pulled me out of my mode.
Okay, but imagine you're going to kill someone in the bathtub, and you raise the knife, you open the curtain, and there's blood there already. that's jarring. You're not expecting that. It throws you off your game.
I'd be
At
like,
that
yo, Alex,
point-
grab me the shampoo.
You should use Johnson's It's No More Tears.
yeah, yeah, don't use that shit. That's gonna burn my eyes, son.
Yeah.
It threw her off her game, and that was the perfect opportunity for his character to come back in.
Yeah.
It was sort of a weakness, a chink in the chain.
It was great. And Jamie, I liked how you said that you liked Norman a lot in part. Well, I don't know if you said what you said was that he was very different in part 1 because he was very nervous.
Yes.
And jittery and stuff. And then in part 2, he was obviously, completely different.
Right.
Now you're back to that again. Another mirror of part 1. He's nervous as shit. You know why? Because he killed Mrs. Spool. Because Tracy Venable's looking for Miss Spool. Because he was in there and was going to kill Maureen. And when he gets into that, and which is another fucking great scene, when he's sitting at the bedside of Maureen, the music, the things he says. It's great because his nervousness really kicks in there. Because if you notice, he wasn't nervous when he was stuffing the birds and stuff like that, or hiring Duke. He rambled on, but he wasn't nervous per se.
Right.
So he was nervous because he's probably wondering, is this chick gonna recognize me when I'm sitting here? Like, what does she really remember? He's probably nervous as shit at that point.
You're the one who found me, Mr. Bates.
Norman.
My name's Maureen. I just wanted to thank you for what you did.
Well, I can't have that sort of thing going on in my motel. Gives the place a bad name. Please, don't take that the wrong way, Marion. I'm sorry. I mean, Maureen. I'm sorry.
I guess I did leave the bathroom a mess.
I've seen it worse.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be such a bother.
You're no bother. No bother at all. Anyway, people should look out for each other, don't you think? I mean, we sometimes get lost. But if there'd only been someone looking out for us to help us understand, maybe we wouldn't do some of the sad, awful things we do.
You're very kind.
He was probably nervous as hell about that, And now he's nervous through the entire movie. He's stuttering. He's stammering again. People are seeing his fucking mom in the window again. Like, there's a lot of shit to be nervous about. And then you even got to ask yourself, why would you even put her in the window?
You fucking
what
retard.
are you thinking? Like, dude, you have people missing left and right, kids getting killed. This one goes like, there's so much shit going on. And you have your mom who's supposedly dead, and everyone knows that? You put her in the window? Are you nuts?
But this is not a conscious decision made by him. It's made by her. She wants to be in the window. She wants to look out the window. He can't control her. He does what she tells him to do, like every good boy should.
Yeah, she's domineering and he goes for it and stop. No,
yeah, so it's not like he's like, I'm going to put my mother's corpse in the window. Is that a good idea? Sure, that's a great idea. He knows.
Well, she's like, Norman, put me by the window so I can see what's happening.
And apparently
okay,
she's black now.
What, was that a black voice?
It sounded like it on my end.
Hey, Norman, put me by the window, motherfucker.
You would think that he would at least have a debate with Mother about that, though, being like, listen, Mother, because he talks to, he debates on other shit. So being how Norman has to always clean up her mess, you would think that he would at least come from that angle, being like, come on, Mother, don't be that stupid.
Well, dude, even when he's like, Mother, will you leave me alone? Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Like, even that scene, that's great. Here's another thing why I'm mental. When he does that, Mother starts whispering in bed. And you know how he like kind of creeps over and he wants to see what she's saying?
Yeah.
Because there's a respect and he wants to know. There's an interest and it's very important what she says. Myself, I start always inching and leaning towards the TV and squinting my eyes and like kind of looking at the floor and trying to hear what she's saying. Like, isn't that, it's like, it's very important to me.
Oh, dude, and you can't hear. I had it on headphones full blast and I turned it up at that part. Same thing. You can't hear anything.
No?
Nope. Nothing.
Yeah, I can't recall what she said.
It's so low and convoluted, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. And Jamie, you talked about like a lot of great stuff, directing wise. let's not forget the greatest stuff. You got the scene where it's like you're looking under the door, and then all of a sudden it pulls away and it's a knife blade.
Yeah.
You got the scene where it's like the front door of the Bates mansion, and it just pans straight up into Mother's window. That was great. What was it? The amazing scene right after the great scene where he's at her bedside. He closes the door and he's in his mom's bedroom already.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's great shit. That doesn't happen all the time.
There's one shot, too, where he's coming out of the house and there's a blue sky behind the house.
Oh yeah, he's walking down the stairs. That's when he's looking for Mother.
That's the one you were talking about? Oh.
No, that's what you were talking about earlier with the good music.
Dude, so perfect. I love it. Yep.
Yeah, there are really some beautiful shots with the house that I've noticed. And this, if you pay attention to the sky behind it, it changes. You know, I mean, it's not just like a matte painting, you know, with, you know, it's
real.
I liked all the guests too, you know, the whole, what was it, a football game or something?
Yeah, they're cool. I like those guys.
Well, but I like how you said that though, Alex, earlier, like it was just another day at the motel. Like that's what would happen, you know, he references it earlier like any hotel keeper would, you know? And like you said earlier too, it's like, you know, would you want to go live it in Haddonfield or whatever? Like, not if I didn't know that dude was a psycho, I'd want to go to his hotel, dude. You know, the dude lets you party. He's like, whatever, you know, and some hotels don't let you do that, dude. I've been to mad hotels where, you know, they fucking have you pipe down, and then there's just some, like, that are off the beaten path, like the Bates Hotel, and you can get a
party time.
You can get away with murder. Oh,
dude, they were doing donuts in the freaking parking lot, and he didn't even give a shit. Well, obviously he had a dead corpse in his hands. He's trying to get away with. But
she offered him to go party with him, you know? It's like,
oh, dude, what about that? The redhead chick who, you know, the whole thing with her in the beginning when she's gonna hook up with Duke, she's trying to open up the ice chest and she falls over and Norm's like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "Yeah." And then he just like walks over to the ice chest without even helping her up, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And she gets up.
What a gentleman.
Yeah, he's such a gentleman. And then, oh, you know what I was thinking? I bet you Mother pretty much taught him that these trashy girls don't touch them, you know, they're kind of skeezy. So that might be why he didn't pick her up.
But Mother said that about everybody, especially the chick at the end. She didn't do anything, you know. She was presented as a whore, but she
yeah. Any girl, don't touch them.
Girls are evil, don't you know?
I love it though.
We do dirty things and and cause men to make bad decisions.
Amen.
Yeah, thank God. So, the great line Dan's talking about, she's like, you know, I'm getting to know Duke, and she's like, "You want to join us?" And he's like, oh, no. Yeah. So, it's great. Think about the logistics of this. I imagine, like, can you imagine Norman or the redhead walking in cabin 12, and Duke's expecting to bang this chick, and then Norman's behind her half dressed, like, "Okay, let's go, Duke. We're having a threesome." You know, like, what would Duke say about this? He'd be like, "You know, Norm, I appreciate the work, but you gotta get the fuck out of my room."
I'm a fan, Norman, but yeah.
Yeah, you're kind of creeping me out here, Bob. Jamie, okay, is Norman Bates cute? Okay, let's just go from part one. Part one, is he hot?
Hot?
Would you bang him? Looks-wise only.
Looks-wise only, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Part 2 and 3. Is it still hot?
2, probably. 3, not. Probably not.
What, the aging or the haircut?
It's the hair. I don't like the haircut.
I kind of like the spiky hair. I think it's
I don't think it suits him. You know, but young Anthony Perkins, cutie pie. Very cute.
Yeah, he's a nice looking guy. And it's weird because it's like most killers aren't nice looking, and as everyone knows, you know, the original novel of Psycho was written that the character of Norman Bates was a 40-year-old overweight guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting, the whole thing.
Could also be hot.
If he looks like Warren Toomey.
I was just about to say Dennis Franz. That's so funny.
See that? We're in the same. That's why we're all here. So anyway, I guess if we're gonna wrap it up, because we're on for an hour, unless you guys have any points. Otherwise, I'm gonna get to when Tracy Venable.
Should always wrap it up. Play safe, kids.
Well then, if that's the case, the show would never end for me. Oh. See, I could do it once in a while, Dan.
Hickory dickory dock. I remember one thing. There's a Woody Woodpecker reference to number 2 with the shovel over the head. Did you guys pick up on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought I was saying something.
No. Oh, right. Wow, dude, you're good.
I'm fucking awesome, dude.
Woody Woodpecker bangs like a crow, I guess, over the head into a hole, right?
Yep.
I always pay attention to what they're watching on TV in a movie because they're watching it for a reason.
Right.
Yep. I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, overall, this movie's great, man. I think it's probably, as far as, I gotta say the first one's the best, just because, but, this one's definitely a close second. And as far as giving it credit for being a good sequel, it's just a good movie, dude, period. You know what I mean? And I mean, obviously it's a sequel, part of a series, blah, 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 but, this is a fucking great movie. So, yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, thanks. I mean, I'm glad.
No, you are definitely justified in your reasons for liking this, man. It's fucking awesome. Yeah. And I gotta say too, man, because I told Alex this earlier. I think the 4th one was the first one I ever saw, and it kind of, going back, checking all these out again, it's like, especially because I knew Alex liked number 3 the most, I was like, all right, let me check this shit out. And I saw it, and I was like, wow, it really is. Putting it into perspective, it's definitely one of the best in the series. Other than, can we just exclude number 1? Can we all agree?
Yeah, because it's not fair.
So it's definitely the best one. So, yeah. Yep.
Wow, that's great. I'm really glad that you see that, because it's weird. Most people don't. It's really strange. 2 is always like the golden child of the whole thing, and then you got 3 fell apart, and 4 blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. I'm beyond listening to what people think, but everybody really care about what we think. Okay.
Well, and there's such a conscious.
I was just about to say, but wait a minute.
Where does that leave us?
That's what we do.
I'm an idiot. What can I tell you? Yeah. Well, okay. So, do I have anything to say before we get to the end? Oh, of course I do. My favorite scene ever. It is actually my Facebook, what's that thing called on the top? What do they call it?
Avatar.
Cover?
Oh.
Cover photo.
Cover photo, yeah. Norman sitting in the window. That little scene, that encapsulates everything about me.
Fucking psycho.
Is this a cry for help, sweetheart?
Yes. That is me, 100%. Like, it's just that, it's that space where you lose yourself and you find yourself. It's where there's just something off kilter about you. There's something that is in your mind, and you're just, I don't know. It's almost tormenting in a way, There's a sense of torment in his face, and right. just doing that, and the night air behind him, and it's like, and there's just something very different about Norman. I think there's something different that he doesn't fit in, and I think that space between him and everyone else is where I am, and where me and him kind of meet, and I think that's why he's my favorite. There's just something incredibly relatable, and I don't think that anybody could get that from any of these other big franchise people, and I'm not saying that this is the best and you're all, I'm just saying for me, I don't think there's a depth in a lot of other horror villains.
No.
I mean, what are you going to say? Yeah, I relate to Jason because kids picked on me at summer camp and whatever, and my mom did something. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't see that. I don't get how that could be plausible, but whatever. That's good if you, or Michael Myers. Like, what are you, mental? You're a mental case who killed people when you were a kid? Like, I don't get how you can relate to that. I don't get how I can relate to Freddy. I'm not a child molester. I can't relate to anybody else.
Yeah.
The Wolfman is cursed, and that I relate to him, and I feel like Norman's the same way. He's like the Wolfman.
Sweetie, you're breaking my heart. Scoot closer and lay your head on my shoulder.
Yeah, and then I could talk about the toasted cheese sandwich. I don't have them. They just took it away.
What's up with him and peanut butter too, man? He was throwing that shit on those crackers and down and that, dude.
You are the best, Dan.
You could not eat that like that, man. It's too much.
Did you know that because of that, I always get Peter Pan peanut butter?
Oh yeah.
Because of that scene, I saw it when I first saw that movie, which was right around that time, I guess. For years after that, I could not eat peanut butter and Ritz crackers.
Really? Because of that? Because he used the same spoon to shovel sawdust as he did to eat.
Yes. And so I could not. I could eat peanut butter on saltines. I could eat cheese on a Ritz cracker, but I could not eat peanut butter on a Ritz cracker.
Wow. No shit, huh?
No. I don't know, just things kind of... okay, there's a scene in The Howling, and I don't think I've ever revealed this publicly before.
Uh-oh.
But there's a scene in The Howling where Terry chops off the werewolf's fingers with a hatchet.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the... not fingers, the hand. But you see the hand as it transforms from a werewolf hand back into a human hand.
Right.
They look kind of like little Link sausages. I was watching that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was probably... and we were watching it on Laserdisc. That's how, like... it was forever ago, but I was watching that, and it was at breakfast time, and I was eating little Link sausages. I have not been able to eat those since, and that was like 30 years ago.
Will you eat my sausage?
Well,
I'm stunned about how you said you saw this one.
I don't know. Has your casing been removed? Because that's the part that grosses me out.
No. I'm shocked that you saw the movie back then when it came out.
What are you talking about? That's who... you know that about me. I mean, if
yeah, she was into that stuff like right off the bat. Like she was there for Texas Chainsaw 2, dude.
Dude, I know, it's just crazy. It blows my mind because 86, dude. I was a year old. It just blows my mind.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, Jamie was like 27.
No, oh my God.
Just kidding.
God, I am not that much.
You're just a couple years older than
I'm not even a cougar.
Alex, girls in age, dude. Get away, stop. There's no way out of this.
She's a cougar.
I am not old enough to be a cougar yet, so there.
I just think it's crazy. I hear
if
86.
it was, I totally would be. But well, no, I mean that if my parents went to the movies, I went to the movies. You know, I mean it was like.
Yeah, I won't go there. Yeah. So speaking of Jamie and liking Norman's looks, how about here's one thing I thought was funny before we get to the end. When he's on the date with Maureen, you're like, it's like, yeah, Norman, get her, man. You're awesome. Our boy's on a date. And the whole time he's on the date, he's like...
I've never drunk this much before.
Me neither. My mother never allowed liquor in the house.
What shall we toast to this time?
Happiness. Would you like to dance?
Oh, no. I couldn't.
Oh, it's very easy. My mother taught me. Come on.
My mother taught me how to dance. It's like, oh, come on, dude. You're going to talk about your mom the whole time?
Yeah, right. You know what?
That's all he knows. I mean,
right.
Guys, let's not gloss over something before the ending. How about the crazy scene where the chick who was in the ice chest, he pulls her out, puts her in the trunk of his car, and makes out with her, kind of.
Yeah.
That was... I know you might be thinking, oh, that was for shock effect, but...
No, I don't think it was really that shocking.
Oh, come on. Who does that?
I mean, I'm not saying people do it every day. I'm just saying it wasn't like... like I wasn't sitting there like with my jaw hitting the floor going, oh.
You're such a jerk, Jamie. I swear to God. You really are.
What?
The little fucking moment that you loved.
That's a great moment to get into, and you just killed it. I wasn't sitting there with my jaw on the floor.
Well, I don't think it was shocking. I didn't say it was bad.
Well, not shocking, but just like, that's interesting.
Hey, Alex, my eyes were bulging out of my skull.
Yeah, I know. Jamie ruined the whole thing. Like, I didn't expect you to be like, holy shit, come here, guys, you gotta see this.
Oh my god.
No, I'm gonna rewind it. Hold on, come here.
Guys, come see this. Come see.
You were so obnoxious, Jamie. I swear to God. All right, let's move on from that great part. And, so...
Well,
So the one great, I guess it was a good combination of writing and directing. The scene where that you were talking about, Dan, Norman hits the gas pedal because, Duke, and like in the Psycho Legacy says, that was one of the only jump scares.
One of the coolest things in Psycho 3 is that the only big scare in the movie is when Jeff Fahey jumps up behind Norman Bates in the car. And not often in a horror movie do you see the big scare be one of the good guys jumping up and scaring the bad guy. And that kind of just goes to show why Norman Bates was so interesting, because even at that point, at the end of the movie, he's done all these horrific things, you're still kind of rooting for him. You don't want anything bad to happen to Norman because you feel so badly for him.
Again, why Norman is sympathetic is because he himself, his natural impulse is to be good, is to be a decent person, and he's trying to be a decent person. Anybody looks pretty good next to Dwayne is because he's such a sleazebag. Part of that whole scene was doing a twist on what we remember is Norman taking the bodies to the lake and dumping them in the lake. The victim becomes the killer, and it sends Norman in the car down into the lake. I mean, it's like Norman has descended into the hell of his own making, and just meeting your victims and being immersed in your own hell, which is what I loved about that scene.
The subtext, the layers of this movie are so beyond. And that's why I hate when people hate this movie. And they hate it for the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much going on. Come on.
The body floats up right in front of his face, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's just great stuff.
It is. Well, I want to say something real quick, too. This movie has, I think, the scariest image out of all the Psychos, would you say? With that fucking Norman smiling his mother? I mean,
at the end?
Dude, that fucked me up for a while. For a while.
Do you mean, okay, wait, we'll get there. I know, I think you mean when he says, will you please leave my son, my poor Norman, alone?
Smile ear to ear and mother's,
Well, before we get there, let's get to one more kill. The kill where that, again, pays homage to Psycho 1, when Arbogast falls down the staircase. And now you got Maureen falling down. Now, how about that? I think that is a little forced.
I agree. I mean, I can have respect for it, but I feel like it was a little heavy-handed. But I did, when I was watching it the other night, I tweeted, and I said, oh, Norman, you think you would have gotten rid of that Cupid statue by now? When will you ever learn?
Yeah.
You know what else just popped up in my mind? Didn't his suitcase pay homage to that? Didn't his suitcase fall down the stairs in Psycho 2? Remember when he heard Mother's voice from the bedroom? Didn't he step back and the suitcase roll down those stairs?
I think it might have. I think so.
Yeah.
You know what I do love about that, though, is that when she pulls away, the little, the tip of the arrow, the heart, is red with blood.
And the one drop.
And then one little drop. It is so cheesy, but it's so cute.
Oh, that's great.
What I took from that was just, Norman, you poor son of a bitch. Like, this guy just can't fucking win,
He can't catch a break,
I shook my head and kind of laughed, like, you poor SOB.
Now, let's get a little in depth. Was that mother killing her, or was that really an accident?
Accident. Yep.
Yeah?
Yep. Yeah. Big time. Yep. She distracted him, He didn't want to. He just, well, technically it was.
But that's how mother did it.
That's how, right? Yeah. I see what
you did.
True.
All right. So we get to Tracy Venable, the girl, the reporter. I don't know actually what she is, but isn't that weird? I don't even know. It's like my favorite movie. I think she's a reporter, right?
Yeah.
She's not a cop or an investigator, so. She's, she goes into the Bates house, mansion, whatever you want to call it, and she's looking around. She sees Maureen down. She says, you stupid, silly girl, or whatever. Meanwhile, you're in that house. Well, it doesn't make you a genius to be roaming around alone.
Yeah, right.
In that house, honestly, sweetie. So,
yeah.
Don't go throwing, you live in a glass house.
Yeah, come on, sugar tits.
Hey, what are you doing there? So, that scene Dan just talked about, Norman just appears in Mother's full garb and says, "Would you please leave my son, my pawn, Norman, alone?" I love that because it's so poorly cut. Like, that's the worst editing of a voice ever. And, like, he had to match it with his mouth, I guess.
Yep.
It's really awkward, but it is scary, though, man.
Why can't you leave my poor son, my Norman, alone?
It's almost like the fucking sleepaway camp thing, too. It's just like, smiling, and it's just weird. And then the voice thing, even though it's cut badly, it almost adds to it. Like, what the fuck? What's going
who
on?
Speaks like that? Leave my son, my pawn, Norman, alone?
Exactly.
It was just really weird.
It was the smile that got me. And I think, too, this is like the first time that, well, I guess in the first one a little bit, but you really follow Norman around in that, when he's chasing her up the stairs even.
Well, how about, if you want to compare, a lot of people think the smile from part 1 is a little goofy when he walks into that fruit cellar. He looks a little, they laugh sort of these days. What do you think of that one compared to this one?
I think this one's better, dude. I think it's just better. It's more creepy. It's just something about it, It's more right up in your face, and it's just, I don't know. It's just a lot. It's palpable.
I agree. I think I prefer the one in the first one, but I do think the one in this one is much creepier.
Okay, yeah.
It's just it's almost okay, do you know at the end of The Grinch where he smiles and like everything just like curls up?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
His
about?
heart grew 10 times.
Yeah. That's what it reminds me of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. That's wow, that is good, Jamie. Wow. You're a mean one, Norman Bates.
And that's why we hired you. You'll be getting a check as soon as we get one. All right. So, that happens, and then all of a sudden, Tracy's heading up the stairs, and here's that scene. She basically explains everything, all the lies, and puts everything back to normal that Mrs. Spool said. She kind of clears it up, and here's that right now.
What set you off again, Norman? Mrs. Spool? You killed her, didn't you? What did she do? Come to you, tell you that she was your mother? She was crazy, Norman, but she wasn't your mother. Neither are you! Mrs. Spool was your aunt, Norman. She was in love with your father, but your mother stole him away from her! Mrs. Spool killed your father in a jealous rage and kidnapped you when you were just a baby! She killed your father because she thought you were a child! The child she should have had with him! She was crazy. They locked her away.
It's lies. It's all lies.
Norman!
She's a lying whore.
Norman, where are you?
She's a slut.
Norman!
Don't let her talk about me like that.
Norman! Please, Norman, please listen to me. Norman, Mrs. Bates, whoever you are, damn it, doesn't it make any difference in that division brain of yours?
Get her, boy. Get her. Just like the others. Get her. Norman, can't you do anything right? How dare you
treat your mother in such ways? Norman.
So I don't have the guts, huh?
So, are you really happy about this? Because I'm, thrilled. Mrs. Bates is really Mrs. Bates, and Mrs. Spool is her insane sister. She's not Norman's real mother.
Right.
So, that's a relief. It puts the whole, what do you say, Jamie, canon?
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah. See, I'm learning.
Yay.
You can learn on the Skeleton Crew show.
Yay! I peed in your pool.
You can actually learn something.
Hey, I can invite 2 of my friends.
Now you can have your friends start listening again. Because you're afraid that you're going to hear a bunch of morons with you on a new show you're on. So.
Oh, they don't know about this show.
Oh, that's good.
What am I supposed to do? I'm doing a show with that guy who rants all the time and the stoner.
That's key to success.
Kermit got kicked curbs.
You have to have certain elements, Jamie.
It's different dynamics.
It's our dynamic. You have an asshole who rants about shit and a stoner who we're lucky if he remembers his name in the morning.
He's a fucking adorable.
Somebody hear my phone ring?
Dan, I wish I could hang out with you.
I wish I could say the same.
I know. I'm not really relatable, am I?
But you are hanging out. I'm looking right at it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, bait side. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but once we're done with the show, we kind of go our separate ways. That's the problem. Dan, you know what? People will hang out with you, and I'll just sit in that window like Norman.
You won't care about the cops, though? Or would you remove yourself a little bit from the window so they wouldn't see it?
I think he was in the window of the parlor, so I think I'm good.
Okay. We're good.
I'll hang out there. Yeah, so that's what happens, and Norman, again...
Wait, I'm glad you mentioned the parlor thing, because that brings us to... Are we done?
Hey, listen, without that whole, juvenile humor, I think we're going to lose a lot of people.
We're fucking 4 years old.
So we got to keep that going, Jamie. So go ahead. Proceed.
No, I'm kidding. Who's more juvenile than I am? Apparently, everything that comes out of my mouth is a blowjob joke. And see, not that, though, because that would never come out of my mouth.
All right. It comes in your mouth.
Oh, wow. We're good here.
Which reminds me, do not let me forget to tell you a story when we get done. But
Okay.
Yeah, definitely when we're off the air.
I'm glad you brought up I'm glad you made the mention of the parlor, because there is a nice little nod in when Jeff Fahey first goes there to get the job, and Norman's like, "Oh, why don't you join me in the parlor?" And he's like, "Said the spider to the fly."
Now, how is that a nod? Did somebody else say that?
No, I mean it's a nod to that old story.
Right.
Just come into the parlor. Come into my parlor, said the spider to the fly. Well,
Yeah.
and that's basically, this is a trap. I mean, overall, his entire life is a trap.
Right.
And
Which we talked about in the first one, where he says, we're all in our private traps. We scratch and claw, but only at the air, only at each other, and for all of it, we never budge an inch. I'm good.
You're something.
I want to say one thing, just to see how strange I am, and this is why I'm unrelatable. That painting that is on the wall that Norman always moves with the peephole.
Mm-hmm.
This movie drew me into that world so much that I actually, put it on my computer, and then I freeze framed it, and then I printed that out, and it's on my wall.
I'm telling everybody, just in case they didn't know that you're a creep.
Is there a hole behind it?
In case they didn't know I'm a creep.
Just in case, if you haven't gotten that yet, look at this.
No, Jamie, because the hole would only lead to my hallway. So.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I think it's cool. I do. I mean, honestly, if I were to walk into a guy's place and I saw something and I recognized it, that's hot. I mean,
wow.
I love horror movie references anyway. And anyone who, and memorabilia and any kind of, I love that shit. So I don't think it's weird. I think it's awesome.
Would you think it's weird if I came running at you with a chainsaw?
Well, I don't know, baby. What were we doing before that?
She's like, well, yeah, she's like, where were we when this happened? What's the situation beforehand?
You got to give me more to work with.
Yeah, maybe Jamie would like it if you did what Leatherface did to Stretch and pointed towards her crotch.
That scene is hot.
I knew it. I know you. I know you so well. Oh, boy.
No, just like, first of all, your adrenaline is, just firing on all pistons. I mean, she's like, now, she's just about gotten killed several times. she's backed up into this corner with this guy who's got this huge apparatus that he
apparatus
swinging at her. And, and then have you ever felt like, or have you ever run anything across your jeans,
No.
Like at a seam or anything like that? No.
Well,
try it. Anyway.
I'm just happy that now that Jamie's on the show, we get 4-syllable words on here.
Apparatus.
Yeah. I'm just happy about that. I don't even care what she says. All right. Just kidding. All right. So, yes, I will run a chainsaw across my,
No, don't run a chainsaw across it.
Yeah, if a girl, puts her knee, uses the knee thing in the clubs.
Yep. Oh, dude, yeah, when you fucking really grind it. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Good.
I get it, Jamie.
Good lord. Gotta wear extra bag.
All right, let's wrap it up for part 3. So, after she tells him the story about the truth about Miss Spool, Norman cuts Miss Spool's head off and says, "You don't think I got the guts?" And he slices her head off, and it rolls across the floor. And once again, he goes from mother to Norman. There's another transition 2 times in this movie. 2 times.
2 times.
So that's interesting how first somebody is dead before he gets there, or sort of.
Yep.
Kill themselves, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then this one, it was just hearing that stuff. Although you hear mother go, "Lies, it's all lies." He believed it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's that. And then the cool scene at the end is that the cop, which we really didn't talk about in this one because, except for the ice scene. Yeah, okay,
right.
We did.
I was for you, Norman. Believed in you. Made a fool of me. Look what you did to yourself. Why, Norman, why? Good God, son. You'll never get out again. They're gonna have you locked up forever. But I'll be free. I'll finally be free.
What I love about it, man, you could still see, the bandage on his hand from when he... Remember when Mother wanted to kill Maureen after he was laying in bed with her, and he put the knife in his hand and he punched the wall just to stop Mother?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's got the little Band-Aids on each of his fingers.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And Maureen also had bandages across her wrists throughout the movie, too. That was cool.
Yep.
They're very, very good with that. But
I didn't think it made sense, though, guys. When he's stroking the hand in the car, that doesn't make sense, especially because of what just happened with Mother. And that he just said that, dude. It doesn't make any fucking sense. If he freed himself and he finally, it doesn't make sense. Especially, and if it was like the original Mother's, but I thought he realized that was Mrs. Spool. Why would he grab her hand? See, that didn't make any fucking sense.
Dude, you're right. And you know what? A little behind the scenes, which I don't like to do, because I like to treat these like they're real. We've been doing that since the beginning.
Yeah.
That was added in because the studio felt that there should be one more twist at the end.
Oh, wow. It made no sense to me. When I saw it, I was like, wait, what?
Dan, what do you think? What do you think about the movie, and how do you rate the movie?
Overall, solid movie. One of the better sequels in all of the franchises. If I were to rate it, I'd say...
You have to give it a horror rating, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to a...
I'm thinking an 8.5 is a good rating. 8.5. So, thank you. Yep. Jamie?
Love it.
I'm gonna say 6.
See, you can't get us, Jamie. You can't get us. Yeah.
I know it.
I'm not doing it again.
I felt for your bunk rating last time. I ain't gonna fall for it again. There ain't no way. I know you far too well for you to give this a fucking 6. Can't fool me.
Okay, fine.
Learn quick, I do.
I'm gonna say... What did I say for the last one?
7.5, I think.
Okay.
See, I'm curious if you think it's better or not.
Well, that's the thing, is that I'm gonna say 7.5 for this one as well. Different reasons, but they're both, and see those are good scores for me. I don't understand you guys. Okay, Jason says to me he's like, the first two, it was Hellraiser, because we talked about Hellraiser Revelations on Evil Episodes. And he's like, actually, we stomped all over Hellraiser Revelations. And he's like, you guys were a bit harsh, weren't you? And I was just like, yeah, whatever. Like, and he's like, oh, the first couple are only 7s for me. Like the first 2 movies in the Hellraiser series. And I'm like, only a 7? A 7 is good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a good score.
Huh? It is.
But, so I don't understand. Like, 7.5 for me is a really good score. That is not low.
No, it is.
I don't think it's low. I just think in terms of, as you rated the last movie, that you would rate it the same. That's why I'm kind of like, oh, wow. Like, that's almost to say that you kind of like it the same.
Yeah, she blends them both together, sort of.
I like it about the same amount. But
Jamie, why do you hate this movie?
I don't. You know what I hate? Number ratings, and this is exactly.
Yeah.
True.
Well,
It's
listen.
true.
What are we? I think it's a little. I don't know, to act like a teacher and grade a director or actors or whatever. I think it's a little pretentious. I don't know.
And we pretty much just did grade it, just talking about it. People get an overall feeling, you know. If you want to sound bite it, this is for sound biting purposes.
Yeah. So yeah, whatever. Yeah, exactly. And Dan Bolday, the guy on our Facebook, he says that these movies are he pictures them as one big movie. So you are right on track. That they're both the exact same.
You're up.
This is a 9.
Oh, the movie. Sorry.
It's a 9?
Yes.
Good for you. Stand your ground. You can be wrong if you want.
This is my 9. And 9 is about as high as I go, I think, because nothing's perfect.
Own it.
Yeah, I don't think I even gave Halloween more than 9, right? So.
Yeah. And that's it, though. I mean, we're telling you why we love this film, you know? We're not making you love it. These are the reasons why we love it. This is filmmaking at its fucking finest. I mean, you can co-sign it to it or not. We don't give a fuck. This is just our feelings on it, and we think it's fucking boss.
That's right.
Bitch.
So that's the end of Psycho 3. Loved it. Great time. And next up, Psycho 4, the prequel. It's actually called Psycho the Beginning.
The kid from E.T.
Yes. So we will phone home. That was horrible. Is that my second worst joke? Okay, let's get out of here before I do a third.
Okay.